All right, so Enzo Maresca wasn't quite ready to say that his team were competing for titles November of last year. I wonder how his tune may have changed, because here's a look at how Chelsea did in the 2024-25 season. They're the Club World Cup champs. They finished fourth in the Premier League, champions of the Conference League, and made it to the fourth round of the FA Cup and Carabao Cup. So when you reflect on those comments now and you see kind of where Enzo Maresca, Nico, has taken this team, how high are you on the plan that he seemingly has together here and how he wants to navigate the pressure and all those things around his group?
I'm high on the plan. Clearly, he's onto something, and he has serious potential to win silverware, much more than he already has. I mean, he's won 2 international trophies in the span of a month. That's something, right? One that was much easier, I guess, than the other one, which is Conference League. Winning this and winning it in style, arguably putting up the best 45 minutes since the Clear Lake Capital takeover, is impressive. And that is worth a lot of merit in what Maresca's doing. Now, I think it was actually very frank and honest in November when he made those statements. He kept on winning, by the way, after he said that.
By the way, it was 8 all-comp straight wins after he made those comments.
Then he doubled down in December, and that's when the Chelsea slump started, and they essentially were out of the title race in a month and a bit, right? So maybe he was trying to anchor himself in realism, and ultimately it paid dividends on the backside because he understood the limits of his squad.
Yeah, and Mike, better to set lower expectations and then overachieve, right? Which I think, do we all agree that Chelsea overachieved expectation in the first year?
Absolutely.
Or that they at least
With
met?
the Club World Cup, yes.
That counts as this season. So we have to take it all into account. They did their job in the Conference League, which, yes, we all expected them. They got the Champions League football, and they won a Club World Cup that, besides Mike Lahoud, nobody else would have predicted to get this right. No, absolutely. He said it to beat PSG. So he did overachieve. And I think
in extra time. It was in extra time.
Poppy. I did say, but everyone said PSG were going to hammer them.
Either way. The point is about Maresca. And I remember when he first said those words, there was a lot of criticism towards Maresca for saying what he felt to be true. And I don't think that he was trying to just lower the expectations. I think that he was just trying to show the situation that he was brought into. Yes, they had so many different players. He had to know who were his guys, who were not his guys. What players were you going to be able to rely on? And what's the character of this team when you have so much turnover? And then also the realistic differences with a Liverpool or with a Manchester City at the time when he was saying these sorts of things. So I give him so much credit for being able to take this team from what he said to where they are today.
He speaks like this as if, or at the time he spoke like this as if they didn't have the budget, right?
No, he wasn't talking about the budget. When you go back and you watch this Chelsea side, when he said it, they lacked the maturity.
Yeah.
They lacked the experience. Defensively, that was where Chelsea got out of being 2 points in December from Liverpool with a game in hand, December 15th. 2 points away from Liverpool, right? You go back to the match against Brighton, which was the match before they started this skid, where they were finding ways to give away points and lose against the likes of Ipswich Town, where Bryan Mbeumo, in the 90th minute, Chelsea were hammering Brentford, and they give up one of the softest goals where they switched off. There's an interesting stat that I kept looking up where in that run of form where they couldn't get points, they kept giving up in the last 10 minutes of matches. It was as if it was almost symptomatic where Chelsea's backline gifting opposing sides goals. And he called a spade a spade. That's a manager that tells me he knows his team. They weren't ready yet. Champions League football, they're ready for. They're much more ready now.
Then what changed?
But you make progress as a team, right? You learn.
It's also a very young group.
For a young group, you learn the mistakes that you made. Even throughout this Club World Cup, he learned the leaders in his squad who he could rely on. In the back, nobody likes Cucurella, right? If you're an opposing team, people don't like. But Cucurella brings a lot to the side, right? Enzo in the midfield. Even Pedro Neto. I looked at Pedro Neto. At 3-0, they were up. The guy's defending like a left back. So you start to get confidence in yourself. And I think winning takes you to that next level. And now they're at a jumping off point where I think they're very confident in their abilities. They've added good players into the mix that give them different looks because great teams, what do? They have one style of football, but they could also adapt to the opponents that they play against. So for me, he's got all of these tools, and maybe there were mistakes in the beginning of last season, but going into the next year, I feel very confident about the team.
They reached the finish line barely. Let's remember they just clinched that top 4. It wasn't like they cleared top 4 like in March, right?
Aston Villa said, you can have it.
They really had to fight for that top four because of that slump, which was so significantly poor, right, for Chelsea's standard. And a team, and I mentioned the budget. It's like, okay, he's talking about the maturity of the team, but Chelsea put this team together, right? Chelsea put this immature team together with $1 billion over the last couple of seasons. Like, that's Chelsea's fault. You get me? Like, yeah, we can't compete with Liverpool.
But it takes time, Nico, though. But it's like PSG. PSG spent a lot of money.
What about Arne Slot walking into a brand
amazing.
That's amazing.
Arne Slot was like walking into a freaking Porsche Macron, and you had to say, okay, make sure this, make sure that. I give him credit for Ryan Gravenberch, but that was a ready-made luxury vehicle.
I think you're not giving him enough credit than he deserves. I think it's a very difficult job to walk in. Imagine your driver has never driven a Porsche Macron in your life.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to crash that car.
So can both not be true, though? I don't think it's comparing the two.
But what I'm saying about Chelsea in the end is that all of the things that Maresca was complaining about throughout the entire season were Chelsea's own doing, right? And sure, he saw it and he said, all right, well, there's a lot of wrinkles that we need to iron out. And then came the Conference League, right? Which you were supposed to win by all accounts. If Chelsea would have not won the Conference League, I think it would have been categorized as a failure.
Yeah.
And they won it. All credit to them. And then I think the cherry on top, which is the size of this desk, is winning Club World Cup. And they're riding a certain wave of momentum. I think they caught their stride again, Chelsea, going on the very end of the season because of clinching top four, because of winning Conference League. Winning helps. Winning is contagious. And then to do it like this, it's like all the credibility that they lacked for like 3 months at the beginning of 2025, they recouped in a month.
They had to put it together when it mattered, though.
Yeah, in a month, basically.
So, look, I'm very high on this Chelsea side. I was on Scoreline with Thea and Joy, and we were both talking about, can they win a Premier League title in the next 5 seasons? I think they can compete and win a Premier League title in the next 2 seasons. Because, in my opinion, Enzo Maresca is building something special. Cole Palmer said it, and I'm seeing it. We saw it with our own eyes. The biggest criticism I had watching Chelsea from start to finish was Enzo Maresca. It was the Pep DNA. Almost like Mikel Arteta, stubborn. We're going to play this possession-oriented football, side to side. Okay, death by 1,000 passes. Chelsea, what they've done in the transfer window, getting a player like João Pedro, that shows me they have ambitions. The Jamie Gittin signing, that's an upgrade from Noni Madueke, who I know some people might be watching Morning Footy and think I have something against him, but Noni Madueke's decision-making is unacceptable if you're going to be a Premier League contender. And a player like João Pedro, for me, with a manager like Enzo Maresca, gets the best out of Cole Palmer. We saw it in the final, and we're going to see more moments like this. You need selfless players, unlike the selfish players that Maresca inherited. This is a Chelsea side that defensively as well, the best thing that I took away, Malo Gusto's performance, yes, but no one's talking about Trevor Chalobah. He was exceptional in the final, exceptional in the Club World Cup.
But that's what you need.
And you're building something with a complete side now.
Yeah, and you need that to go far in a number of competitions. But I want to talk a little bit more about the partnership of the two players that we just saw on screen, Cole Palmer and João Pedro. Marco, are you ready to say that this could be one of the most electric, best attacking partnerships in the Premier League next season?
I mean, look what they showed us in such a short sample size. And I think that they're very self-aware of what their strengths are and what their weaknesses could be, right? Because João Pedro, when he comes in, the link-up play, the ability to drop in, Cole Palmer's able to find these passes, the runs in behind, and the understanding that Cole Palmer wants to cut in and Gusto could go over on the right side. That usually takes time. That chemistry takes time to build. But when you've got smart players, when you've got players that are able to connect, they could put something together to beat what was the best team in the world in PSG and unlock them in a way that we saw very few teams in Europe do. So everything has shown me in this Club World Cup that is the duo to go forward next season. And can you imagine with the other pieces that they're going to add how good this duo could get?
What I saw the most was the way that João Pedro occupies defenders, but it's not only him, by the way. In that final, when Malo Gusto was bombing forward, really giving Nuno Mendes a hard time. But Reece James, alongside Moisés Caicedo, which permitted Enzo Fernandez to be further up the field, him occupying spaces. Cole Palmer, who started on the right, would cut in. He was in a pocket of space often, and he had the ball. He would dribble. Who's cutting him down? Who's stopping him? Who's stopping him? Who's stopping? No one was able to get on him, and that was one of the keys to the success in the final. That Cole Palmer found himself in a field of space. And if you give this guy that much time, that much room, it curtains, right?
Yeah, especially in big games. We've seen it time and time again.
There's a lot of potential. I don't want to crown Chelsea Premier League champions yet. I think in this very hot takey age, we do that often. But what I'm seeing is that Chelsea has a lot of potential and a lot of credibility and a lot of belief in their project to be able to be a serious competitor to win the Premier League and any title that they're vying in.
So you're just not ready to be clipped saying that they're the best team in the history of the world just yet? No? We're not going to do that?